Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic thousands of caravan migrants, Giggle, heading to El Norte again for Freebie. Again, today's topic thousands of caravan migrants, Giggle, heading to El Norte again for freebies. I wanted to do a show on this. It's not going to be a long show. And that supremacy being the most awesome mental manipulation force that has ever existed. There are such masterful manipulation entities. They're good. They're so good that they continue to put agendas right in front of multi-millions of American blacks overall faces, and still they're very successful and still fooling multi-millions of American blacks overall, with few exceptions. And just like this particular atrocious tactic, but brilliant, on this thousands of migrants or thousands of caravan migrants, again, I'll get to that in a little bit, that's heading to El Norte, right? Again, let me show you something. Let me show you something because this cannot be shown. This cannot, give me one moment. This cannot be shown enough. When you're talking about some realistic reality, and especially toward numbers of African and Native blacks, I'm not talking about the few percentage points that have open minds, right? Because no one person knows every single thing, right? But watch this.
Sorry, Kevin Bacon wasn't in Footloose.
What? Of course he was.
No, he wasn't. You lose.
Of course he was. He was the star.
Nope, you're wrong. Look it up.
I don't have to look it up. It's common knowledge. He was on the cover of
No.
People magazine when the movie. Everyone knows Kevin Bacon was a star of Footloose. It was a huge movie. He was the lead. No.
I mean, when I see that, it's kind of hilarious to a point when I look at that because the symbology I'm relaying is say that guy is trying to tell that particular mule or donkey, wherever it is, hey, this information, you can look this up. It ain't that hard. Look up, you look it up. And the donkey's like, no, 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 nope, nope, nope. I ain't looking nothing. Nope, nope, nope. That's not true. Right? It's interesting because that is what numbers of multi-millions of American blacks overall do with information. It's like that thing of see no evil, hear no evil, what evil, who cares about that? Ain't got nothing to do with, had nothing to do with me. As if the mountain revolves around individual American blacks that have no power in this system supremacy. Right? Which then causes more what? Black pain. Let me show you something again. You really didn't see what you really thought you saw, right? Or someone relayed, man, I saw this on that show, man. They showing a van that flipped and bunch of illegal immigration personnel were popping out there like lizard babies or something, right? But you got personnel say, "Oh, that's racism." Racism to tell reality, right? While at the same time, people that break border immigration laws and people you see that are coming through the migrant caravans again are sitting back cracking up and laughing. And so many people don't even know the game. And just like on this topic today, reality is a hard thing for numbers of American blacks overall to accept on that, right? Now, you got, before I go on, let me read you something because I cannot read this enough. In a book called Propaganda that was written in the 1920s, almost 4 generations ago. Almost 4 generations ago, and it is a great book called Propaganda. I'm just going to read in chapter 1 a few sentences under organized chaos. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the masses, the conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in a democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideals suggested largely by men and women, numbers of women, we have never heard of. And this particular, again, migrant caravan, again, is no exception. It's no exception, right? Let me go ahead and show you something about that, getting to the particular point of that. Give me 1 second. Let me show you something, okay? Show you something.
Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000.
Wait a minute now. Let me show that again.
Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000.
Organizers relay that, or they claim that there are 15,000 migrants in that caravan, and other people say, no, it's really about 5,000. So what? It's still thousands of potentiality of border breaking illegal immigration personnel that are within those caravans who know they are. Do you think that? Oh my God. It's so ridiculous how it should be very simple to see through this stuff, right? Because the premise is very brilliant. They're very brilliant. They want multi-millions of American blacks not to see what's really going on around them and the destruction that's heading toward their demographics very fast. And that's what I have to say still, and I stand by what I say. The American blacks overall only have half a generation to 1 generation left for the overall complete destruction of many types of things going on toward them, be it economics or politics or socially, environmental, health wise, even more educational overall, black youth overall, et cetera, et cetera. And you still got numbers of American blacks overall thinking that individuals make up a future for American blacks. individual numbers of blacks are what should be the primary focus on. That is absurdness, absurdity, lunacy, and ignorance. Because individuals do not make the collective. Let me phrase this. Individual success does not make the collective. Individuals that are together by overallness make the culture. The individuals that have a collectiveness on goals and choices and thoughts in life to make the culture better is what makes the collectiveness of an American Black culture. Let me show you something. Give me one moment. This is what, especially, see, this is what, especially among those American Blacks, men, because they are the scourge within society overall. They cannot, this society, the system cannot stand educated, be it formal, be it informal, be it vocationality, be it formal education, be it business personnel. They cannot stand that, and especially if they still know who they are and are not sellouts. Oh, they love to sell out. They love the ones that act like that because they're individuals, that they're successful because they're individuals, and that makes up everything. They get laughed at by supremacists because the system wants more American Black males to be like this. Wow. This is what they want. More American Black men to be like that. See, the migrant caravan overall, they are laughing and cracking up. What else then showed you the piece about that um, clip? And I'm using these things as fair usage doctrine. But just in case, let me show that. Let me show that. Give me one second. I'm gonna show that again. Okay, let me show you that clip. Let me show you that clip again.
Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000.
Who cares? It's thousands, no matter what, of migrant caravan personnel again. This ain't the first time, and it won't be the last on that. It's like a disgusting element of the game that keeps happening. And you got how many of a political person who know they are that's falling over chairs, falling all over chairs, falling over chairs, and trying to get as many border breaking personnel to come across that border. Personnel in the caravan, they want more caravan people to come up to America. I'm not talking about the small percentage of political personnel who know they are, who really do want to do things. I'm not talking about them. That is the exceptions. Hey, not what I say on that. Supremacists knows that because they are the most awesome mental manipulation force that's ever existed. Let's use logical analysis. Do you think that if there was, reverse this around, thousands of American blacks are moving through the northern part of the country, going down to the southern border areas because they are tired of racial racism. They're tired of personnel acting indirectly like member people. They're tired of people that having formal Klan type of actions. There are people, they're tired of just racial racism all around. They're tired of it. They're tired of being overall just chastised. They're tired of sitting there being the number one uh, personnel that is posted board as some kind of criminality ailment, as if it's only American blacks that some commit certain crimes, but at the same time they love keeping people to focus on one area of a crime against blacks, or black by some blacks doing some things, but at the same time, a whole category of crimes, right, that's done by numbers of personnel within various sections of predominant culture, that is minimized. It's the brilliance of supremacy, right? But getting back to the story, do you think again thousands of American blacks will be able to head down to the southern borders or across the Atlantic Ocean? I'm just giving an example, but this utilize the southern border areas. Do you think thousands of American blacks will be able to go down to that southern border and then have an American flag and then in caravans going down the street, blocking up traffic for 2,000 miles? Do you think that's going to happen? Of course not. How many people that across those southern borders would be like, we really don't think so. You're not going to come across that border. You ain't gonna come across here and soak up freebies across this border. You ain't not going to use no excuse to talk about, well, American blacks are more educated than numbers of people across various parts of the border. They're not going to accept that nonsense. They ain't going to accept that. Well, the American blacks, well, they just want to go across the southern border because, well, I don't want to. Well, let me play a video for a second. Let's get into that point as well. Let me play a video. Let me play this other video, okay?
Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000. Robinson Reyes is making the desperate journey and says the current policy, in which migrants process their paperwork in southern Mexico rather than at the U.S. border, is not working quickly enough.
We've been here for almost a month, and they haven't solved anything regarding the humanitarian visa. We want a future for our families. We are not violent. We just want a better future for our families.
The nonsensical, demonic ignorance of that, right? And it's like the most absurdness of that. The American black is going through so much, you know what, within various parts of America. The American black has the highest toward racialness than any other culture, background, etc. The number one most hated personnel per statistics relating to racial context is American black. That's statistics. But there is no laws or policies specifically for the American black, but they've given the anti-Asian bill real fast, right? Got however different other things for what we call various sections of a term lifestyle category. However, things are for what we call numbers of Hispanics, whatever that's supposed to mean, because there's Afro Hispanics and there's Afro Asians, but that's a whole different topic. But you get the point what I'm getting at, the gist of it. But at the same time, you got how many of the political personnel will not do nothing for the American black specifically, but how many have no problem with knowing thousands of caravan potentiality border breaking personnel are coming to El Norte to do whatever, say whatever, to get across that border and soak up free resources. While at the same time, the American blacks overall are told to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, your shoestrings, your sailboat masses, your own waterboard, pull yourself by your own darn canoe. I mean, just pull yourself by whatever it is. Well, how other personnel got their hands out, getting all kind of resources, getting all kind of laws and policies, et cetera, who know they are. But here it is, thousands of caravan migrants are coming to the southern borders, are coming up to the northern El Norte to go across those southern borders to come into the north to get those free resources. So again, do you really think thousands and thousands of American blacks can go from, say, a central part of America, or you can go from eastern coast to western coast? It don't matter. Just pick a place, and thousands are just going down to the southern borders. Men, women, and children. And 99, 95% of the American blacks doing that don't look like pauper type people. They got American flag in their hand, right? So they're not talking about they just want to sit there and have a better life, that they're not violent people. Do you think how many people going across that southern border, different places, areas, countries, whatever it is, states, excuse me, states, countries, states. Do you think that would be allowed for American blacks to say that nonsense, right? Or irrational nonsense, right? I mean, it's not irrational how to make a better living, but I'm saying it's irrational to the people, various people across various parts of the southern states going to, southern past southern borders. Because they're not they don't hear all that. They be like, you better stay right there where y'all at. And again, to hear, the video, one of the videos I showed you talking about organizers. So that is formally knowing that they are putting together caravans to sit there, potentiality of breaking immigration laws, and our combination of going there, saying what they got to say. I'm seeking asylum. What are you seeking asylum for? Oh, political violence, fear for our safety. But American blacks, how many American blacks fear for their safety in America every darn day? How many American blacks feel that higher parts of the political system don't care anything about them overall? How many American blacks in there suffer educational disenfranchisement, right? How many American blacks need cultural counseling as a collective, right? It's just like this right here. I want you to show me where border breaking illegal immigration personnel and another migrant caravan coming to the El Norte had to have this. I want you to show me where they had to have that. Show me in history where it says migrant waiting room like this. Show me where it said border breaking illegal immigration personnel waiting room. Do you see the absurdness and insultingness, right? That this stuff is allowed by however political personnel who know they are and some other and pro open border breaking illegal immigration personnel entities, businesses, etc. Right? Because they have their own discussing agenda. And again, one of those agendas among hundreds of thousands of agendas is that they want to have a replacingness of demographics, bypassing, diluting down American blacks even more. If, wait a minute, but is that kind of racial racism? I mean, is that racism? That the replacement theory? We heard that. Stop, 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 stop. Let me show you something. When people say some most ignorant stuff like that, when you're trying to relate information over logical analysis information, when people say try to play little games and you know I'm like, let me show you how I do. Let me show you what I would not listen to. Let me phrase that. When I hear people try to say logical statements and stuff like that toward myself, well, what about, well, just like in this topic, well, they're just trying to sit there and have a better life, and they're trying. Oh, you say you want to see it again? You say, wait a minute. OCP, wait a minute. You said, what do you be doing when people, try to say like illogical statements and stuff like that, and you looking right through that nonsense they talking about, and they think you that foolish to believe this nonsense they talking about. But now, especially we talking about this topic right here. Well, what about? Well, but they coming from a country that, but there's so much violence, and but the country they're suffering from poverty. Well, don't you? I'd be like, because I'm not hearing that nonsense. No 0. No percent. Because I read right through that nonsense, right? Because then, if you listen to that kind of stuff, and they know multi-millions of American blacks listen to that nonsense, and because they love falling for the people of color nonsense, they love falling. Multi-millions of American blacks, with few exceptions, love falling for getting put in the minority status. They love it, right? They love American black folks fighting for other people's agendas because this is what they be doing. Other people, this is what they be doing. That's what they be doing to multi-millions of American blacks, just laughing at numbers of American blacks. Overall, they say, oh, these foolish people, they're the most hated people in various parts of America. They make up the overallness of racial, the hatred toward a racial group is toward the American black, number one. And they still, many of them still try to sit there and help out other people. That is cultural insanity. That is cultural, generational, mental sickness. But American blacks overall can't get any kind of reparations. And you know what? I stand by what I say. Unfortunately, the way the system is, the way it's doing, again, American blacks only have half a generation to 1 generation left for the complete overall destruction of the overallness of American blacks overall. And the only people that will remain among the American blacks is what I call cultural black POWs. The other multi-millions of American blacks will be like cultural zombies. It is going to happen. And I stand by what I say because American blacks overall have too much black pain. And to allow people to put them in a people of color category, in a minority category, and dilute the heck out of them is sickness. Right? But let me play you something else. Let me show you something. Let me show you something here. Let me show you something. I gotta take this off. I gotta take something off here. Give me one moment. I'm just gonna show. Hold on. Give me a second here. One moment here. Give me one. You can't see that. Give me one moment. One. Give me one moment. One moment here. One moment. I'm trying to find something here. If I'm trying to find something, give me one moment here. Okay, here, I think this right here, what it is. You see this right here, that um, I'm gonna play this a couple different times. You see where it says that the the person is standing proudly, that they're announced that this morning a 1.25 million immigration relief fund benefiting such and such district. Let me show that again. This is a American black person of a certain district in certain area saying that they announced this morning at that particular time 1.25 million immigration relief fund benefiting such and such district. At the bottom, my latest round of grants will allow the 3 immigrant rights organizations to provide legal services and universal representation. Now, again, how many other personnel Well, then political factions do the same thing, but won't sit there and say nothing about American black. Now, how is it that again? Let me show you it again. Now, how is it that again that they can sit there and come up with 1.25 million at this particular part for immigration relief fund, that their latest round of grants will allow the three immigrant rights organizations to provide legal services, universal representation, right? But they can't seem to come across that kind of money to help specifically for American blacks, right? For American blacks, right? For legal services and universal representation, et cetera, free educational resources, free Pacific business resource for American blacks, et cetera, et cetera. Ain't it interesting how that can't seem to be found? But they can find things for immigration rights, different areas, entities. Isn't that interesting? Do you think that caravans, again, and I'm going to show you something on that, will make the trip through various places across southern border to come up to El Norte if it wasn't beneficial for them? If they knew that they were not getting any kind of free legal resources or free food assistance, however numbers of personnel, that however money resources filtered through whatever programs, wink wink, for some kind of housing, or whatever other programs they can get, right? Say that person in that caravan, or how many people in that caravan have a child or children already, and then they produce another child or children, unless they're physically not able to do that. But say the ones that are producing the other child or children, along with other one or two they have already, or three, or whatever it is, they produce another one or two or three again, or produce those across the border, right? What do you think happened? Bam! Automatic citizenship. Then those kids are anchors. So that means that that person's parents, they gonna be deported overall, and that's what they keep doing it. Once that child's produced, right, or children's produced by that border breaking legal immigration personnel, or again, however personnel, caravans, whatever, micro caravans, they know they just have to get across that border and pop out that child or children, and then that child becomes anchored, right, of that person's parent or parents, right? They don't like sitting at that reality being relayed over, because they know they know it is a agenda tactic that keeps working over and over again, right? But watch this. Yes, the overall destruction, even more, of American blacks in less than a generation. It's not going past a generation. It is not. And I stand by what I say on that. It will not go past that. It will not go past that. It won't, unfortunately. Let me play this audio of a little bit more relating to this topic, okay? Of thousands of caravan migrants, Giggle, heading to El Norte again. Let me play this audio, okay?
It's the latest and one of the largest migrant caravans to make the nearly 2,000-mile trek north through Mexico. The group's journey began Monday in the city of Tapachula. Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000. Robinson Reyes is making the desperate journey and says the current policy, in which migrants process their paperwork in southern Mexico rather than at the U.S. border, is not working quickly enough.
We've been here for almost a month, and they haven't solved anything regarding the humanitarian visa. We want a future for our families. We are not violent. We just want a better future for our families.
Did you hear that nonsense? Right? Did you hear that nonsense? But let me play that again. Uh Let me play this. Let me play that again.
It's the latest and one of the largest migrant caravans to make the nearly 2,000-mile trek north through Mexico.
You hear what they say? The latest. This is the latest caravan. Let me play that again.
It's the latest and one of the largest migrant caravans to make the nearly 2,000-mile trek north through Mexico. The group's journey began Monday in the city of Tapachula. Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000. Robinson Reyes is making the desperate journey and says the current policy, in which migrants process their paperwork in southern Mexico rather than at the U.S. border, is not working quickly enough.
We've been here for almost a month, and they haven't solved anything regarding the humanitarian visa. We want a future for our families. We are not violent. We just want a better future for our families.
They want a better future for their families, right? So the American blacks, so numbers of American blacks don't want a better future for their families. To American blacks, they're at the bottom list of so many different categories as a collective, right? The American blacks, again, that are the number one most hated personnel overall by statistics relating to racial hatred, right? The black male overall, the most hated male overall in society, right? That they want to portray the American black male overall as some kind of criminality overall, but the ones that are educated, right, that are not sellouts, the ones that have businesses that are not sellouts, the ones that have vocationary jobs that are not sellouts, the ones that are just, they can be working at factories that are not sellouts, right? I'm just giving an example. Ones that be teachers, the ones that are not sellouts, ones that are electricians, that are not sellouts, right? You get the point what I'm getting at. Architects, lawyers, business personnel. I'm talking about the ones that are not sellouts. They don't like showing those kind. And here it is, this caravan number of personnel. And if you notice that, oh, you probably see it on this, they're not coming across the uh, border, or they're not making their way to El Norte looking all pauperistic, right? Clothes are decent enough. And by the way, it's like when you look at the video, it's like, wait a minute now. So they don't have any clothes, right? Overall, where's all these clothes at? Where's all the food at? So according to what you heard earlier, said about 15,000, and then some other entities said no, it's about 5,000. And then on the video where it talks about that organizers, do you see the discussionality? People organizing that. Do you realize how irrational, illogical that would be if someone was trying to organize American blacks by thousands and try to go to that southern border and say, "Oh man, they're tired of dealing with all this racial racism and hatred, and can't seem to get no political personnel to get laws passed specifically them, but they have no problem passing anti-Asian laws, whatever numbers of Hispanic situations, helping out however numbers of alternative lifestyle categories, et cetera, et cetera." Which is an insult. But American blacks lead the number one racial category of against them by racial hatred toward them, but they can't get no political personnel to legislate laws specific for them. Do you know how crazy that is? But at the same time, they're gonna sit there and get this has been a midterm election to do all they can to try to get more blacks to vote for that particular political party. Wow. Do you see the game on that part? Right. While watch this for a second. So I'm about to finish up this show. But let me play this video one last time on this, okay?
City of Tapachula. Organizers claim there are nearly 15,000 1,000 migrants in the caravan, but authorities in Mexico estimate it's closer to 5,000. Robinson Reyes is making the desperate journey and says the current policy, in which migrants process their paperwork in southern Mexico rather than at the U.S. border, is not working.
So he has another flag. That person has another flag.
And they haven't solved anything regarding humanitarian visa. We want a future for our families. We are not violent. We just want a better future for our families.
So they want a better future for their families. They do not care anything about American blacks. It's no percent. No percent do they care about American blacks. They do not care about American blacks whatsoever. They don't care about racism having American blacks. They don't care. They don't care about black pain for the American blacks. They only want to do for their people. It ain't just one sectionality of people that are trying to break border immigration laws. Now, the system, they make sure to show a certain look or looks, but it's not just one look. Now, it might be a main type of priority of numbers of personnel when in a certain section of people that are in those caravans, right? Because obviously what's close to the North American continent or United States by the southern border. Mhm. So I just wanted to show that uh, this particular topic, right? Because again, this is what they're doing. Higher number of caravan personnel, the organizers, border breaking, illegal immigration entities, personnel, etc. They're sitting there laughing and cracking up at American blacks overall for not knowing the games that keeps going on. And that's why I say again, the American blacks overall have half a generation to one generation left before the complete overall destruction of the American demographics of American blacks. So again, for me, when you got a personnel that try to play that ignorant type of tactic, the ignorant type of tactic of saying they just trying to make a better life. And as you heard earlier on that clip, they say the latest basic caravan. The latest caravan. This game keeps happening. So again, for me, when people try to play that ignorance of kindergarten tactic games, I'm just like I am just like this. Because I'm not listening to the nonsense on that. Just not. So I wanted to again do this podcast, and especially as a timepiece purpose. I wanted to do this type of podcast as a timepiece purpose. So be it a person listen to this 3 months from now, or a year from now, or 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, you come across this and say, wow, in between that time, in between this video, and then whenever somebody listen to it, maybe down the road sometime, again, 5 years from now, 4 years from now, 3 years from now, a year from now, whenever another caravan or caravans come up again, right? It'd be like, wow, that's still been happening. And still, then American blacks still will not have reparations, still will not have any specific law specifically for them. Watch, it is not going to happen. But there will be more however policies and laws and however sympathy and concerns about other different cultures. Well, that's a different topic. I don't want to go there on that one. So I hope this was a interesting topic because again, also they want multi-millions of American blacks to be doing just like this as well. I'm gonna play that again in a second. But this is what they want American blacks to also do: be mesmerized and not see reality. So again, I hope this was an interesting show. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And just for me to play this real something simple again, this is what they want also, and how many of the border breaking and illegal immigration personnel are doing this every day, and how many of the caravan personnel will be doing this as well. So you got a combination of people who are going to be doing this, a combination of people that'll be like, hey, asylum, asylum, skipping lines. So people that are in different countries that put in the correspondence of paperwork, whatever it is, application online, whatever they have they done it, paid their requisite fee, did the right way. There might be waiting for years type opportunity, right? But you got personnel, popping inside of these caravans, want to sit there and skip the lines. And again, they're not from just one specific little main section of culture. Now, they may be from a primariness of a certain section of a culture, being the border is right close to obviously the United States. But that does not mean that there's not quite a number of other different cultures utilizing the caravan as well. They're just not going to be shown in those caravans a lot because now they won't be the overallness, right? Because the system, they're not about that. They want a certain section of sections of a cultures to do the dilution more of the American blacks. Because remember, for generations, the three largest cultures, demographic wise, in the United States was what we call person that was in the predominant culture, white. It was the American black. That, which is a different topic because some reason the American black, you got people that act like the American black is not supposed to have their own unique culture and achievements, right? For some reason, that they're, well, they came from Africa. Wait a minute now, because you got people that say, they are already people that are already native to this country already. But that's a whole different topic. So, but regardless, the American black, right? It's like a conductorness electricity. You become like that electricness. The black American black became like this conduit, right? They became of their selves, right? To be have this uniqueness. Just as if you go to the ancient continent, the ancient continent of Africa, you're not going to tell 50 plus some countries or different people than 50 plus countries, hey man, just say Africa, man. Don't worry about your own ethnic background, your own tribe, your own town, your own political view. Don't worry about that. Just say Africa. They go like, man, get out of our faces. We don't play that. You sure are not going to go some Caribbean and say how many islands make it the Caribbean? A gigantic amount. You're not going to sit there and say, oh, you're from this island. Oh, you from that island? Hey, man, don't make no difference, man. We all Caribbean personnel. Like, hey, don't be doing that. Hey, no. We have our own traditions over here. We have our own culture. We may have Caribbean part, the Caribbeanness of location and things like that. It may share some similarities, different things, but we have our own culture, right? But for some reason, the American blacks are not supposed to have their own culture. They're supposed to be just diluted down. But at the same time, how many people who know they are, they may have some facialness of blackness, but sit there and ride the coattails of American black. But they don't like American blacks either. The ones I'm talking about who know who they are. But that's a different topic in itself. So, but I'm just saying to you on this part, the American blacks overall do not understand what's heading toward their direction as a collective overall. I just showed you in that clip or clips. They said that this was the latest migrant caravan, basically. The latest. So you got more people want more caravans, and they're going to have it. They're going to have more caravans and more caravans because, again, some of the agendas that they want the dilution factor over the American black overall. And before you know it, they will have that political block or blocks, the other political party, they will have that political block because the only reason that you still got people overall that try to go toward the American blacks to get them to vote is because they know what American black do you know has any type of illegalness within this country. That makes no sense because there's no American black men, black women that are legal in this country. They have not broken border immigration laws. How many coaches can say that again? You got the ones that try to play some ignorance. Well, this was our country. Stop. Because again, get your feelings hurt. Because again, before the prior ice age, they would have the people who know they are wouldn't even been in this country. So stop it. So I'm not going to do that tactic at all. I'm not going to play that. Okay, not going to do that. But I'm just relaying to you that this is such a disgustionality of a tactic of tactics, what they are doing with the caravans and allowing border breaking illegal immigration personnel to just run rampant, right? Overall. And people who are trying to secure certain things, they understand this is an epidemicness that's going at the border. And again, the people that's going to pay the price even more disproportionate is American blacks. Because again, those caravans, who is sitting there helping them out? When somebody says that, when he's talking about that there is a organizing, there is a formalization of organizing these caravans. Who do you think they're getting resources from? No telling, right? So you're gonna tell me somebody's coming from 2,000 miles, right, across some parts of southern borders, which that's a freaking lie. Because how many people sit there and join up maybe 100 miles from the southern borders, 25 miles, maybe a few miles from the southern borders, right? Right? How many people jump in that caravan to get inside some freebies on that? But again, they were numbers of American blacks to just be fooled. Okay, and act like this will not affect them overall the culture. And this is what they're doing. Right? In the same game like the border breaking illegal immigration personnel who have used their youth as pawns, right? To do that to get their youth and numbers of adults to do this when they don't know or they don't want to go in the back of the line to put the proper paperwork in when they reach the age to be able to do it themselves. Many of them don't want to do that, right? And ones who are of that age, adult age, they still don't want to sit there and do the correct correspondence and pay the fee. Uh, they want to just skip the line as well and say, forget this crowd because this is what they want to do as well. Okay, I don't know what just happened. Sorry about that. Let me try it again. I don't know what was that about. Let me try this again.
Okay, you've asked some questions. Okay. I totally agree with you. But as we fight the fight for the dreamers, which is our... Do you want to listen or do you want to shout?
Fight for all 11 million illegal immigration personnel, which is not. I did a show on that previously on that. It's not. But you see the discussionality of the tactics. Did you hear them talking about we're all one people? No, they want millions of illegal immigration personnel, right, to sit there and just magically all of a sudden now, 2 years from now you'll be a citizen. 5 years from now you want to be a straight citizen, right? But at the same time, they want to put in the correct paperwork to do what they need to do. The ones of a certain adult age bracket to do that. They don't want to do that. They want to bypass all that. Even though in 1986 and 1982, that was one of the last major versions of supposed to be immigration reform that gave millions of people legal right. And how many of them that we'll really never know became citizens? We'll really never know. Now it is almost 50 years later, another same game plan again. So hopping on with those caravans that come up here and going to play the same darn game. So another 20, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, same game, same tactics again. The unfortunate part is who's going to suffer the most? The American black. Even though the American black man, black woman does not have more than a generation left. And it is sad that unfortunately there's multi-millions of American blacks overall, with few exceptions, that do not understand that they are being played on so many different avenues. Now, some of them don't care, and that's fine. But let numbers of them get reminded by supremacist people or different other cultures that remind American blacks how much hatred that they also have toward American blacks, and see how fast they'll sit there and cry foul and cry racism, and how many numbers of American blacks will fall right in line and go sit there and feel sympathy for them. Do you see this tactic that's used over and over again, over and over again? So again, for me, uh, when I hear nonsensical stuff from 5 different directions, I'm like this. So again, I hope that this was an interesting show, because again, I want to utilize this as a timepiece purpose. So when they continue to do this another year, 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, then if I'm still around myself, or if I'm not, however it goes, and somebody comes across this video, they say, or comes across the podcast, they'd be like, wow, you was talking about that then at that time too, or you was talking about that at that time too, and they still playing the same game. And American blacks still have not gotten any type of tangibleistic type of resources to help them overall better themselves overall, just as other cultures and backgrounds are helped politically and economically free, right? Without ever having to go through the black pain in any comparison. Do you see where I'm coming from? In a continuous basis. And so the caravan, another caravan again, is heading to El Norte for freebies. The game is brilliant. The game is brilliant. So again, thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show. Thank you.